right. Good morning, everybody. Back again. I'm really enjoying doing these videos. My Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder series. I really enjoy it. I think it's entertaining. It's quite intriguing, and it's actually funny. Going back and forth with the Wilder fans, and obviously they've made up their mind, and I'm not here to change it. I'm not here to change it. But I'm going to continue to voice my opinion on what they're saying. I'm going to continue to analyze and dissect what I'm seeing from both Fury and both Wilder. And as I said, I'm going to continue to talk about it because quite frankly, I find it entertaining. So, Deontay Wilder and all of his fans and all these um, minions that he has out there on YouTube that are doing these interviews with him, they keep saying that Fury cheated. And once again, I can't change their minds, regardless of if no proof was brought to the table, right? They don't like how Tyson Fury's glove was flopping around in the first fight. They don't really bring up much footage or any footage of his glove flopping around in the second fight. And, the whole glove gate thing started from footage from the first fight, right? His glove was slipping down, down his wrist, and they're basically alleging that Fury was hitting him with the palm part right here, right? Again, I still dispute whether or not that's an effective way to punch, if it's going to be harder than punching with this part of the fist. Obviously, this part of your hand, you could argue, is harder, right? This part of your hand is hard, and this part of your hand is hard, right? Possibly harder than this part. But to get the proper leverage that you would want to get on a punch, I think it would be more beneficial and more advantageous to a fighter to be able to land and come over the top and really put more of his body weight by landing with this part of the fist. Because if you're going to try and land with this part of the fist or this part of the fist, I'm not saying that you can't put all your weight behind it, but you have a more efficient way of putting all your weight behind it if you threw it in the proper boxing punch technique, right? The way that most fighters would throw the right hand, right? Because this way it would appear to be more of a slap, more of an arm punch, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying my opinion is the end all be all, but that's irrelevant here. So the accusations are and have been that Tyson Fury has cheated in both fights. Once a cheater, always a cheater. There's been accusations of white privilege. There's been accusations of Fury having the complexion for the protection. Okay. I'm not here to argue against any of those things. If you have a particular stance on this situation or topic, then at this point, I don't think anything I'm going to say today or tomorrow or the next day or next week or next month is going to change your opinion. You guys are standing on that hill, and you're going to continue to plant your feet firmly on the top of that hill, and I'm not going to be able to move you off it. And I'm not going to try. Not going to try. I'm really not going to try. But I do pose one question for you. So if Tyson Fury was allowed to cheat in the first fight, as you say, and he was allowed to cheat in the second fight, as you say, and the system is protecting him, as you say, he's got the complexion for the protection, as you say, right? And as also Deontay Wilder and you guys say as well, Tyson Fury is a recipient of white privilege. So he's allowed to cheat because he's white, and nobody cares because he's cheating against the black man. Okay. If I'm not here to try to dissect that, again, I'm going to repeat, I'm not here to change your mind, right? So you guys believe, and you have insinuated, you don't even, some of you say that you believe that the commission was corrupt. Others say the commission was incompetent. Okay. Last fight was in Vegas. Well, guess what, guys? They're going back to Vegas again. They're going back to Vegas again, right? Same commission. So if this commission is incompetent, as you say, and a lot of times we have shined a negative light on this commission because of the judging and bad refereeing and not really implementing the instant replay fight. There's been situations where punches didn't land or headbutts landed and it was called a punch, whatever. This commission has made mistakes in the past, right? But the level of incompetence that you're suggesting that took place in February in that second fight, February of 2020 in that second fight, that level of incompetence that you're suggesting that took place would be the worst case and the highest level of incompetence that I've ever seen, right? You're saying that they dropped the ball horribly in that second fight, right? That those gloves were inspected 4 times, and whatever was done to those gloves, the foul play that you guys allege was missed, not only by the inspector at the glove selection meeting. That's one guy who fucked up, right? You guys are alleging that JD's fucked up, who's, Wilder's trainer, right? The guy who's supposed to check the gloves. So he fucked up, right? Then you're also saying the commissioner in the locker room, he fucked up, right? That's what you're saying. I'm not here to dispute any of it. If that's what you believe, that's what you believe, right? So he fucked up, right? And then when the referee grabs the gloves before the fight starts, he inspects the gloves, not as in depth as the other guys did, but he's failing to make sure the padding's there and, they're not excessively hard. No. So he fucked up, right? And then after the fight, the gloves and the wraps are further inspected, right? By another commissioner, or another employee of the commission, I should say, right? So the gloves were inspected 6 times. So all those people fucked up according to you, right? They're incompetent, right? That's fine. But guess what, guys? So if he cheated in the first fight, right? If that glove was flopping in the first fight, right? And it took you guys and Deontay Wilder almost 2 years to figure that out. It took you 2 years to catch that, right? First of all, because in 2021, that's when you guys were, that's when all that Glovegate stuff came out. But the footage was from 2018, right? So you guys are going way back. You're taking footage from that fight. You're bringing up issues of the failed drug test in 2015, right? Then you're also bringing up the, I think there was a situation where Tyson Fury's glove was detached, and then he was ordered to take that glove off, and then there was another. He had to put another glove on, the spare glove. That's why there's 2. That's why there's a backup set of gloves, just in case the first set of gloves obviously gets busted up or ripped or torn or damaged, in the fight. So you guys pointed out that I guess the glove was detached from his glove. The thumb was detached from his glove, and you guys believe that that was intentionally done. The referee saw it, and he was forced to put on a new glove, right? The backup glove was put on there. Okay. So if this guy, as you guys say, has been cheating all the way back to 2015, right? If he's been cheating all the way back to 2015, with the PED situation, all right, now he's part of the VADA clean boxing program. So he's being tested by VADA, as well as the commission is testing him as well. So he's under the highest scrutiny that he could possibly be under in terms of being tested for PEDs in boxing, right? That's fine. That's still not good enough for you guys. Once a cheater, always a cheater, right? That's the hill that you guys are going to die on. Fine. That's great. So if he's been allowed to cheat all the way back to 2015, he cheated in 2018 in the first fight, right? He cheated in the second fight, right? And then that commission in Vegas is horrible according to you guys, right? They're horrible. They're either incompetent or they're corrupt, right? They're either incompetent or they're corrupt, right? So if the system is allowing Tyson Fury to continuously cheat, according to you guys, right? Whether it be white privilege, whether it be racism, whether it be whatever you guys want to say it is, I'm not even going to dispute that. Okay, we'll give you all those points, right? So when they go back to that same commission, July 24th, right? The commission, who you guys think is either corrupt or highly incompetent, right? And I'm not here to defend the commission because they have made mistakes in the past. They've appointed referees who I feel are questionable. They've appointed judges to events who I believe are questionable. But one thing I've never seen is a glove scandal be slipped under their nose. I've never seen a situation with PEDs or gloves. I've never seen an instance where they dropped the ball in regards to those two things, right? They've a lot of fights have been called off because of the drug testing, and these fights were scheduled in Vegas. So it never really was able to fly under the radar in Vegas. I've never seen a glove scandal situation. An issue with the gloves where a fighter was caught loading gloves in Vegas. I've never seen that in recent years in this modern era. Okay, that's fine. So you guys don't trust this commission. You don't think that this commission is fair, right? You think this commission is racist. You've basically insinuated that, right? You believe this commission is biased against Deontay Wilder and it's racist against Deontay Wilder. That's what you're implying. Whether you're saying that outright, the implications are strong that that's what you're suggesting. That's what Deontay Wilder is suggesting, right? So if that's the case, then you're going back to the same commission, right? That you believe allows Tyson Fury to cheat. They allowed him to cheat in the second fight. And then the California Commission allowed him to cheat in the first fight. And then back in 2015, you guys believed that he was able to get away with cheating in the Christian Hammer fight, even though he got suspended or he was under investigation for about 2 years. Even though he walked away, he was still under investigation, but that still wasn't good enough regardless. So everyone allows, for some reason, Tyson Fury is part of the Illuminati and he can do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to follow any of the rules because he's Tyson Fury. Maybe as you guys say, because he's white. That's the reason why. If that's the hill you want to stand on, we're going to continue to just basically go by what you're saying, right? So he's going back to the same commission. What's going to stop him from cheating in the third fight then? If you guys believe he's always a cheater, right? What is the plan for dealing with Tyson Fury if you think he's going to cheat in the third fight, right? How are you going to stop him from cheating in the third fight if you think the commission is going to allow him to cheat? If you think that the system, that white privilege is going to allow him to cheat and has continued to allow him to cheat, what's going to stop him from cheating in the third fight? Explain to me. Oh, well, Malik Scott's going to be looking closer for it. Okay, well, JD's was right there. What was he? Did he have his eyes closed? Did he have a blindfold on? How did he miss it? Oh, he wasn't experienced enough. How many fighters has Malik Scott trained? How many champions or former champions has Malik Scott trained? How many times has Malik Scott been in a big fight and asked to check the gloves of an opponent in a big fight? How much experience does Malik Scott have as a trainer, right? Does he have more experience than JD's in big fights? JD's has been with Deontay Wilder for 41 fights, right? And a substantial amount of those were championship fights, right? So all of a sudden, JD's the man who all of a sudden was incompetent and not experienced enough to check the gloves, which he probably already which he probably has already done several times, but all of a sudden for that one night he forgot how to do it properly. That's the argument, right? He made the mistake, according to Deontay Wilder. I had a stern talking to him. Fire Mark Breland, but I'm gonna keep the white guy who made the biggest mistake of all, if you believe that the gloves were loaded, right? Okay, so if that's the case, and you believe that the gloves were loaded and JD's didn't catch them, right? Even though the gloves were checked about 6 times, right? You still don't believe that the gloves were legit in that second fight or even the first fight. So if you had an issue with the gloves in the first fight, then why wasn't that brought up in the second fight? Why wouldn't JD's have looked even closer at Fury's gloves in the second fight if you had an issue with the gloves slipping off and flopping around in the first fight, right? So we're gonna believe the LDBC's theory. We're gonna believe Fred Hawthorne's theory. We're gonna believe Boxing Ego's theory. We're gonna believe it all for the sake of argument. Hypothetically speaking, we're gonna run with that theory, right? So what is going to stop this man from cheating in the third fight if you believe that the commission has allowed him to cheat in both fights prior? Are you going to snap your fingers and automatically white privilege is going to disappear on that one night? Automatically, is that incompetent commission, that corrupt commission, automatically, are you going to just snap your fingers and they're not going to be incompetent and corrupt anymore? Right? Kenny Bayless, second fight. I've never been a huge fan of Kenny Bayless. Full disclosure, I think he's overly officious. I don't think he allows fighters to fight on the inside. He even took a point away from Fury for, mauling on the inside against Deontay Wilder, right? He's a guy who gets in there and breaks quickly, which is really better for Deontay Wilder. The way that fight was officiated last time out, Fury had a point taken away from him, right? And Fury's better on the inside, and he was grabbing and laying on Deontay Wilder, but Kenny Bayless broke them early, right? That was beneficial to Deontay Wilder. But again, the black referee is the crab in a bucket referee, according to Deontay Wilder, right? But once again, you're going back to that same commission who's corrupt and incompetent. How is anything going to be different? You're going to be sending another guy into that locker room who doesn't have experience really checking gloves. You can say, well, he's a boxer. He's had his hands wrapped several times. He knows. Again, having your hands wrapped and actually inspecting other people's or other fighters' wraps are totally different, because every trainer wraps someone's gloves differently. Okay? You may have had your gloves wrapped a certain way for years, right? But other trainers are going to wrap their fighters' hands differently, right? Does he know all the rules? Does he know, how much gauze is supposed to be on that glove? And, the fact that you can't put tape on top of tape, right? You have to put tape gauze. Does he know that? Does he know that the padding can only be a certain width and thickness? Does he know all these things? Is he going to be experienced enough to look at these things and pick up on all these things, right? This is the first big fight this guy has ever been in as a trainer. So he is going to be lacking experience as well. He's going to have less experience than JD's did, right? So you're going to send an even less experienced guy in the corner, or not in the corner, excuse me, in the locker room on July 24th for the third fight. So what is the plan now if you believe that Tyson Fury has cheated and has been allowed to cheat his whole career? How are you going to stop him from cheating in the third fight? That's my one question. I'm going to put a link in the chat, and I hope someone can jump on and explain to me how the systematic racism and the white privilege that has benefited Tyson Fury his whole career, according to a specific group of Wilder fans here on YouTube and social media and in general, right? How are you going to snap your fingers and that systematic racism and that white privilege is going to disappear on July 24th if that's why Tyson Fury was allowed to cheat and if that's why Tyson Fury won? So if Tyson Fury is going to continuously be allowed to cheat, he's going to continuously be allowed to load his gloves, according to you guys. He's going to be continuously allowed to punch with the palm of his hand, as you say he did in both fights, but the footage was only from the first fight. There was no footage of him having the glove slipping off and flopping around in the second fight. The footage was from the first fight, but it happened in the first fight, but Wilder didn't pick up on it until after the second fight was over, but yet he's critical of what happened in the first fight 2 years later. So it took him 2 years to catch that, right? It took him 2 years to pick up on that and catch that. In my opinion, he basically took that theory that was propagated here on YouTube and he ran with it because it made him look like he was wronged and it gave him an alibi, right? So he was basically taking other people's excuses and running with other people's excuses because it made him look good, right? Because he had a big following, right? He had people supporting him, right? Making up excuses for him. And he took those excuses 2 years later and ran with them, right? So if there was issues with again, I'm not even going to try and dissect it. I'm going to stop right here because the more I try to dissect it, the more ridiculous it sounds. And I'm not going to go down that road. I'm going to give you guys the benefit of the doubt. And I'm going to say, yeah, okay, let's go by your theory. You still haven't given me a way that Tyson Fury is going to be stopped from cheating in the third fight, because once a cheater, always a cheater. So how are you guys going to tell me, if you believe Tyson Fury is a cheater and he's always been a cheater, how are you guys going to present an argument to me that he won't cheat in the third fight? If that's what you believe, if you believe he's constantly going to be cheating in every fight and he's allowed to cheat because he's white, because of white privilege and because of systematic racism, how is it going to be stopped in the third fight? Just explain it to me. I want to be educated here, right? I want to be educated here. How is it going to be stopped in the third fight? Because the world is against Deontay Wilder, according to you guys. The world of boxing is against Deontay Wilder. The commissions are against Deontay Wilder. The powers that be are against Deontay Wilder, right? Full disclosure, I always believed that Deontay Wilder deserves this third fight. I never had a problem with it. The undisputed fight can wait. That's just my opinion. I mean, you had a contract, you had a rematch clause, people had no problem with Anthony Joshua getting the rematch. That's fine. Give Deontay Wilder his rematch. No problem with it, right? But if you're going in to this third fight, as you know, if you're Deontay Wilder and you think that you lost that second fight and you think that you had, Fury was able to last and get that draw in the first fight, right? If you believe those things, right? If you're Deontay Wilder, that the only reason why you had tough outings with this man because he cheated, right? Then you have to come up with a way to stop the cheating, right? You didn't file any protest. You didn't take any legal action against this man. You never filed a protest with the commission. You said the commission doesn't care. Nobody wants to listen to you. So what's going to change in the third fight? Explain that to me. Explain that to me. Explain to me. I'll put links in the chat. Explain to me, what is the plan to stop him from cheating in the third fight? And if you believe that you lost only because he cheated, then then you don't think that you really made any mistakes. You don't think that you did anything wrong as a fighter. I'm going to analyze this training that I'm seeing, this training footage from Malik Scott, because again, it's ridiculous. The reason why, in my opinion, Deontay Wilder lost the second fight is because Tyson Fury took the spacing and the distance away from him and didn't allow him to have the space to throw that right hand and turn that right hand over and get the power on it that he needed to get on it. So Tyson Fury got inside, bodied him a lot, mauled him on the inside. And I think he beat Wilder because of his physical strength on the inside, because he leaned on him, because he wore on him, right? So when I see all this training footage, I'm seeing Deontay Wilder hitting the pads, and I'm seeing Malik Scott back up and giving him the space where he needs to throw that right hand with power. Tyson Fury is not going to give him that space. So if I'm holding the pads for Deontay Wilder, I would be trying to simulate a real fight, right? I would be getting inside and grabbing Deontay Wilder and mauling him around a little bit. And I'd be trying to work on, breaking out of the clinch, not necessarily fighting, not necessarily trying to wrestle with the guy on the inside, but I would be trying to formulate a way to not allow Tyson Fury to grab me. So what would I do? I'd try to get up underneath, right? I'd get up underneath and come up like this, right? And I would teach Deontay Wilder to give him the bump. So when you're being grabbed like that, right, and someone's leaning on you like that, right? Right? What do? You don't fight and push back with them, right? When someone's leaning on top of you, what do? You slide out of the clinch, right? What Chavez used to do every time Chavez was held, what did he used to do? He used to get up underneath the clinch, and then he would pop his head back up. And a lot of times, his top of his head would smash into the guy's chin, right? Or he would bump him with the shoulder, right? So get low, give that little bump with the shoulder, get up underneath, and pop up with your head, right? You got to make Tyson Fury have trouble holding on to you and leaning on you, right? That's what you got to do. Because Tyson Fury is going to try to maul you again in the third fight. So you got to do that, and you got to slide back. So when Tyson Fury, right, continues to try to take that space away from you and lean on you, you got to continue to not allow him to do that. You got to continue to create that space for yourself. So if I'm Malik Scott, I'm working on those little things, and I'm also working on this. I'm teaching Deontay Wilder to take that half step back and pivot, right? Pivot out to the side, right? Because Tyson Fury is not going to be able to grab you if you're not standing right in front of him. So you're going to have to, I would teach him to take that half step back, pivot out to the side, boom, right hand. That's what I would be working on. I'm not seeing any footwork being worked on. I'm seeing more of the same. They're allowing Deontay Wilder 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? They're not preparing for the rough and tumble inside fight that he's going to have to deal with, in my opinion, on July 23rd. So I think the training footage is bullshit. I don't think it's helpful or productive. What Malik Scott is doing in those training sessions, right? I'm seeing Malik Scott actually back up and allowing Deontay Wilder to get full extension on that right hand. Do you think Tyson Fury is going to allow Deontay Wilder to get full extension on that right hand? Did he allow him to do that in the second fight? No. He smothered that right hand, right? So Malik Scott needs to teach Deontay Wilder to shorten up the right hand. He needs, I'm going to translate this. I think your opinions are BS. So what this really means is, Beeb, you're actually making very good, constructive, critical points in Deontay Wilder's strategy, but it bothers me that it makes Deontay Wilder look less than. It bothers me that I'm actually pointing out the weaknesses, and because I like Deontay Wilder so much, I can't deal with the reality that maybe he does have weaknesses. So please only say good things about Deontay Wilder. Don't constructively criticize him. Okay, say the things that make me feel good. That's the translation for that. This is a 78 Sports subscriber. This is a Boxing Ego subscriber. This is a Barbershop Conversation subscriber. So my opinions are going to be BS because they actually are being constructively critical of Deontay Wilder's training, and I'm not supposed to do that because I'm supposed to say things. I'm supposed to say things that are complimentary to Deontay Wilder. And unless I say complimentary things about Deontay Wilder, then I can't say anything negative because it bothers this person, and he just doesn't want to hear it. Okay. Here we go here now. So basically, here's another one. This is called the ad hominem attack. When you can't when you can't come up with counter arguments, here we go. Have you ever been in a fight or ever trained? Yes, I have. I was a novice amateur. I had 6 novice fights. I wasn't very good. Full disclosure, I wasn't very good. That's why I work a full-time job now. Okay, what else? What else? All right. Let's translate this. You're just biased. That's what bothers me. No, once again, I'm saying things that you don't like and you don't want to hear. I can only say complimentary things about Deontay Wilder. I cannot constructively criticize him. Because I'll put a link in the chat, and I need you to explain to me how they're going to stop Tyson Fury from cheating in the 3rd fight if if both commissions allowed him to do so in the first 2. If he was allowed to cheat in both fights, if he's always been a cheater and he's always been allowed to cheat, and it's because of white privilege and it's because of systematic racism, then how is that going to stop on July 24th? Explain that to me. So again, back to the training. They need to teach him to take that half step back and pivot. Take that half step back, step off to the side, pivot off to the side, right? He needs to be taught how to create space, how to not let Fury smother him. And when Fury does lock up on the inside, he needs to use Fury's weight against him, right? Fury's going to lean on me, right? Then I'm going to squat down. I'm going to get low and let Fury fall forward and be off balance. And then I'm going to come up with my head, come up, boom, hit him with the top, hit his chin with the top of my head, give him that little shoulder bump, right? Give him that bump, and then slide out and step off to the side. I got to find ways to create that space and not allow my right hand to be smothered like it was in the 2nd fight. I'm not seeing any of that in training. Translation. You give Wilder no chance. No, you need. So basically what you want me to say is that there's no way Fury can win this 3rd fight and Wilder's going to destroy him. Because I'm not telling you what you want to hear. You're getting upset. Keep doing this because I could help other people with psychological issues. This is very good what you're doing right here. Keep giving me these comments so I can continue to dissect the cognitive dissonance and the hero worship syndrome. Hopefully one day we can fix this. How old are you? Tell me how old you are, because you may still have time left where I can help you out with your hero worship syndrome. I can help you out. So that's the thing. Nothing in this training I'm not seeing anything in this training that is going to prevent Fury from not smothering that right hand again. Because what is Malik Scott doing? I repeat, he's literally backing up and allowing Wilder to have the space to throw that right hand. Fury's not going to do that. So all you're doing is just working on the things that Deontay Wilder likes to do. Okay? And sometimes in training, you got to work on things that the fighter doesn't like to do. You got to figure out a way to deal with that 270-pound man when he's lying on you, right? When he's trying to put all his weight on you. What do? You don't stand up straight and push off with your legs, and that's going to only make your legs tired. What do? You relax, you plant your feet. Obviously, you don't want to give up ground, but you slide your lower body down, right? And you try to slide up underneath the clinch. Make him reach down to try to grab you. When you are up close, you're small. When you're outside, you're tall. All right? I know Wilder's 6'7", but he's got to get up underneath Fury when he tries to grab him, right? Let the Fury grabs him. When you're inside, you got to slide down, right? You got to work that body. Because if his hands are up here, what's exposed? His lower body. So that's what you got to do. When he goes to grab you up inside, you crouch, get up underneath the clinch, Boom, boom, 2 body shots, both sides, left, right, up underneath, shoulder bump, create space, boom, right hand over the top. These are the things you got to do. You don't just sit there and hold the pads and back up, right? You got to teach him that he's going to be, you got to teach him to deal with being in a dogfight the third fucking time. But you're not doing that. What are you doing? You're sitting there, stepping back. He throws a right hand, and then you could see Malik Scott go like this with his fucking. I mean, come on, bro. This is a cheerleader in there. And when you're listening to them train, right? Yeah, that's it. Every little thing Wilder's doing. Yeah, there you go. Like, these are all fucking yes men tactics, bro. That's all this is, right? I'm here to get a check. This, Wilder's gonna be making, he's going to be making 10 figures here, right? He's going to be making 8 figures here, right? Malik Scott's going to probably get 10% of that. I mean, he's living large right now. He's living large right now. He's collecting a check, bro. Malik Scott's collecting a check. That's my opinion. I know it sounds bad, but that's just my opinion, because I'm not seeing anything different. I'm not seeing him working on the footwork, taking that step back, creating space, pivoting out, stepping off to the side, creating that punching angles. I'm not seeing a strategy to make sure that right hand doesn't get smothered in this fight. I'm not seeing any of that. I'm seeing more of the same. I'm not seeing Deontay Wilder throwing body shots, right? I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing Deontay Wilder being taught how to deal with the inside mauling and clinching, right? I'm not seeing any of that. Right? Not seeing any of that. A big part of why Deontay Wilder's legs, I believe Deontay Wilder was not 100% in that fight, but the poor strategy didn't help him at all. Right? Didn't help him at all. No one fights good when they're forced backwards, but you can teach a fighter how to make subtle steps backward and off to the side in order to create punching angles for himself and create space for himself to get the punches off. Wilder's not being taught any of that, right? He's not being taught any of that, and that's a huge problem. Right? Let's just be realistic about it. That's a huge problem, right? So if you're going into this third fight believing that it wasn't what I did wrong, but I lost because the other guy cheated in both fights, right? If you're going in there believing that I lost because of white privilege and I lost because of systematic racism, guess what? Mr. Wilder? You're not going to be able to snap your fingers and automatically all those things are going to go away for you if that's what you believe, right? If you believe those things had a determining factor in why you lost. If Fury cheated in both fights and he was allowed to cheat by the incompetent, corrupt commission, you're going back to that same incompetent, corrupt commission again. What assurances do you have that they're going to stop him from cheating again if that's what you believe? No one's answering the question. Someone answer that question. How are they going to stop Fury from cheating again if that's what they believe he did? What is the plan against Tyson Fury if he decides to fight that way again and maul you on the inside and smother that right hand and you can't get it off? How are you going to be able to deal with that? What is the strategy for dealing with that? Explain to me. Any Wilder fan, explain to me what the strategy is. If I'm seeing Wilder continue to move forward during these training sessions, and I'm seeing Malik Scott actually backing up to give him the space that he needs to throw the right hand, and then he's pulling back the pad even more to give him even more space, right? How is that teaching him to shorten the punch up and generate power, shorten it, come over the top of your inside, step off to the side, slide out, shorten it up? I'm not seeing him throwing. I'm not seeing him working on shortening up that right. Like, you go back and watch Evander Holyfield when he fought Riddick Bowe, right? And how he set up that left hook by getting underneath, sliding over to his right, and throwing a real short, crisp right hand, and then opening up the left hook, right? Go back and watch Evander Holyfield do that move. I'm not seeing Deontay Wilder do that move at all. He's not being taught to shorten up the right hand. He's not being taught to deal with the mauling. Once again, here's ad hominem. Bro, you was a bum when you fought. Just shut the fuck up. See, this is what it is. Then why are you here, bro? It hurts you. This is you know what the translation is? Beeb. You're making good points. I have no counter argument to the points you're making. So guess what I can do? I'm going to insult you, the person. I'm not going to debate the points you're making, right? I'm not going to have a counter argument for what I think Wilder needs to do. I'm going to insult you. This is what I'm going up against, and I love it. I love it because you're basically telling on yourself. So this guy's just here to troll. So you have no intelligent counter argument for me. Why? So you're here for that. So now that you told on yourself, guess what happens? Now you get blocked because you're wasting time. You're wasting time. You're wasting time. So now you get blocked. There you go. See you later. You're out of here. All right. So we got him out of here now because he admitted he was just here to troll. I need intelligent debate here. I mean, I need substantive debate on here. If you're not on my level intellectually and you can't debate me with logic and you can't bring any strong counter arguments to what I'm trying to say here, then you're going to get thrown out. That's it. I'm going to throw you out. We don't need you. We don't need you. Beeb is making sense, and that's what hurts. That's what hurts. I was going back and forth with this, thinking that we're going to see a better version of Deontay Wilder, right? A Deontay Wilder that's going to be healed up, right? A Deontay Wilder that's going to be fresher, right? Maybe a Deontay Wilder that's going to be well rested. But here's the problem. The more I hear him talk, and the more I hear Malik Scott talk, and the more I see him only talking to people who are going to tell him the things he wants to hear, right? I think he's detached himself from reality. I have never once heard him say one critical thing about himself. I've never heard him say, well, I should have done this, or I need to do that. All I'm hearing from Deontay Wilder is I lost because of white privilege. I lost because of systematic racism. I lost because this guy cheated. He's taken no ownership of the two performances he had in the first two fights. Never. So if you don't think you did anything wrong and you think the system was against you, that's why you lost. You think you lost because this guy cheated. How are you going to make improvements? Wilder told you in the first fight, after the first fight, I lost too much weight. I came in a little lighter than I wanted to. I'm going to bulk up in the second fight and I'm going to fight more aggressively. Told you that. He also told you that in the third fight, he's going to be even more aggressive and be even more physical. So he's telling you things that he's going to do, right? I'm not saying Wilder has to give away his game plan. But every time Wilder talks about this third fight, right, and he talks about the previous two fights, all he does is blame, Jack Reese gave him a long count. I should have won the fight by knockout. Forget about all the punches you missed in that fight. Forget about all the loading up you did in that fight. Forget about how you were only throwing one punch at a time in that fight. The only reason why you lost is because Jack Reese gave Fury a long count, right? Second fight, I lost because Mark Breland drugged my water, because Tyson Fury cheated, and because the commission is racist, right? basically implying that the commission is racist. That's why they allowed Fury to cheat, right? And Fury is a recipient of white privilege. That's why. So you if that's what you believe, there's no way you're going to be able to change those things, right? So if that's why you lost and you can't change, you're never going to be able to eliminate white privilege, right? You can't snap your fingers and eliminate white privilege, right? If you believe this systematic racism exists, you can't stop it, right? So what is the strategy? What is the strategy? What is the strategy if you're finding a guy who you believe is a cheater and always has cheated, and you believe once a cheater, always a cheater? So you're basically saying he's going to cheat again in the third fight. You're basically saying that nobody cares about it. You're basically saying that he was allowed to do it in the first two fights. He was allowed to do it back in 2015. And you even suggested that he probably did it against Klitschko. These are all your assertions, right? It's all on video. It's all on video, right? It's all on video. Oh, JD's couldn't or didn't pick up on the foul play with the gloves in the second fight because he's inexperienced. Meanwhile, he's been with you for 40-something fights, and a great deal of those fights were title fights. So if that's not experience, I don't know what is. But so now you're going to send another guy in the corner with even less in the corner. I keep saying in the corner. I apologize. In the locker room to check the gloves in the third fight with even less experience than JD's. Oh, well, he was a fighter. Yeah, he's getting his hands wrapped. He's not used to looking at other trainers wrap other fighters' hands. And I repeat, all trainers wrap fighters' hands differently. And I'm willing to bet that Malik Scott doesn't know all the rules of the commission. I could be wrong. I'm suspecting that he doesn't know all the rules. I'm not sure if he sees a pad that's bigger than it should be, like Antonio Margarito's knuckle pad. It was bigger than it was supposed to be in that Shane Mosley fight. It had more tape on it than it was supposed to because it was excessively hard because there was an excessive amount of tape on it. Can Malik Scott pick up on those things, right? Is he going to be savvy enough to say, okay, I don't like what I'm seeing here. I want those gloves rewrapped. Is he going to do that in the corner? Is he going to do that in the corner, right? In the corner, in the locker room. I keep saying corner. And is he going to do that in the locker room? Is he going to do that? Because he has even less experience than JD's does. This is his first title fight he's going to be in as a trainer. Or he's never been in a title fight. He's been as a boxer. But this is going to be his first title fight as a trainer or boxer. He's not going to be, obviously he's not boxing, but this is going to be his first title fight, right? This is going to be the biggest night of his life in boxing, right? And it's going to be as a trainer, right? So this is his first time ever being involved in a title fight where he's going to be training. He's the head trainer, right? He has no experience at all. He has even less experience than JD's and Mark Breland, right? This is the first time he's going to be doing this, right? Do you want to hire a new trainer at this stage of your career? And a guy who has zero experience, right? Sugar Hill came out of that Kronk gym, right? Worked under the greatest trainer of all time, in my opinion, Emmanuel Stewart. That was his uncle, right? He's got tons of experience, right? He's worked with other world champions, right? He's been in big fights before. He's been in the corner of big fights. So by Tyson Fury getting him over Ben Davidson, with all due respect to Ben Davidson and no disrespect to Ben Davidson, I feel as though Sugar Hill was an upgrade. I'm going to be honest. I think Malik Scott is a downgrade. What has he ever done? How many world champions has he trained? How many fighters has he trained, period, as a pro? He's never been in this moment, right? All he's doing is cheerleading in this training footage, right? This training footage is made for Deontay Wilder to look good, right? That's what it's being made out to be, right? Edited footage to make Deontay Wilder look good. That's what it is. So please, someone tell me, how is a less experienced trainer who's never been in the locker room at in a heavyweight title fight, who's never been in the opponent's locker room in a heavyweight title fight where he's in a position where he has to actually check the opponent's wraps and gloves, right? He's never done this. Is his first time ever doing this. So what makes him more qualified than JD's? How is this an upgrade? I just need for people to explain this to me. How is this an upgrade? Can someone explain to me how this is an upgrade? How this is going to benefit Deontay Wilder? Can anyone answer this question? Can anyone tell me how this is going to happen? Can anyone tell me, if you believe Tyson Fury was always a cheater and cheated in the majority of his fights and cheated in both the first two Wilder fights, right? If you believe that, and you believe the commission allowed him to do it, and you believe it's because of white privilege, it's because of systematic racism, what is going to stop that from happening in the third fight? They're going back to that same Las Vegas commission who you believed was incompetent, who you believe was either corrupt or incompetent, who you believe didn't care, who didn't do anything, right? If you believe that, explain to me how it's going to be stopped in the third fight. Can anyone do that? I'm waiting. I'm hearing crickets right now. No one's leaving me any comment that can explain to me how that's going to happen. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. So the closer we get to this fight, the more intriguing it becomes to me, because I'm seeing more and more evidence to suggest that I don't think we're going to see a different Wilder. I don't think we're going to see a different Wilder in terms of tactics. We may see a more healed up Wilder. We may see a healthier Wilder, because I believe that he did have some issues with that left bicep tendon in the first fight. I believe that. I mean, he got surgery on it. Obviously, there was issues with it. There's no question about that. Did look a little bit under the weather. Looked like he was sick. Could he have had coronavirus? I wouldn't rule that out. That's a totally plausible possibility. I'm not going to talk about the glove gate, because you guys already know my stance on that. I'm not going to talk about the drugged water, because you already know my stance on that, right? Do I believe Fury cheated in the past? Of course he did. Of course he did. He had a drug test that stated that he did, right? Of course he did. But now he's being tested by the commission as well as VADA. He's part of the VADA clean boxing program. So he got tested by both the commission and VADA twice, right? No adverse findings. So until I see an adverse finding moving forward, I'm going to have to believe that he's clean, right? I'm going to have to believe that he's clean. The gloves were inspected 6 times. Nothing was found. All right, that's fine. I mean, you guys think that the commission was incompetent and they missed something. You guys believe that they could have been corrupt and they saw something and allowed it to sneak through, right? You believe that they would put their reputation on the line, face possible jail time and a fine, and never be allowed to work for a commission ever again. You believe that they're willing to put all that on the line just because of white privilege and systematic racism, if that's what you believe. If you believe that someone was willing to ruin their life just to give Tyson Fury a leg up, then I can't change your mind. I already told you what happened to Bob Lee, right? He did jail. He did 2 years in prison because of corruption. He was the commissioner of the IBF. He was the commissioner of the IBF, right? He took bribes, right? So would a state boxing commissioner be involved in corruption, face possible jail time and a fine, and never be allowed to work in a commission for the rest of his life by giving Tyson Fury beneficial treatment? What is the upside for that? And if you believe that the incompetence was so great that 6 people, or after the gloves being looked at 6 separate times, if you believe all 6 people were incompetent, the coincidence that all 6 people missed something, maybe one person can miss something. Maybe even 2 people can miss something. But to suggest that 6 people missed it, all right, we'll ride with that. So how is it going to be prevented? How is it going to be prevented? Yeah. So here we go. The only reason why Wilder looked beta in fight one was because Fury was a fat fuck. Okay. I mean, but you're not explaining to me how they're gonna stop him from cheating in the third fight if Fury, once a cheater, always a cheater. What's the strategy for him not cheating in the third fight? Fred seems to think that, Fred Horton, during that interview with Wilder, he hopes Fury gets paralyzed. That's how angry he is with this, right? That's how personal this is for Fred. That's pretty sad, man. If you want a boxer to become paralyzed for the rest of his life, right? And you got Deontay Wilder saying he wants people to die in there. He wants to kill people. He wants to chop people's heads off. I mean, you got to really look at this, man. This is like really erratic behavior. This is erratic behavior, guys. What is the theory? Like explain to me how all of these people allowed Fury to get away with tampering with his glove. And what is the upside for them allowing it to happen? I just want to learn. I make these videos every day because I'm really hoping with every fiber of my being that you guys can provide, right? That you guys can provide evidence for me. T Street controversy, he exposed Fred a long time ago, right? He exposed Fred a long time ago. Fred ran for councilman, for Whittier, California, right? The city of Whittier in California, which is basically predominantly white, right? Fred is married to an Asian woman, right? Which is fine. But if Fred is so pro-black, then why is he running for councilman in a predominantly white community? Why is he living in a predominantly white community if he's so pro-black, right? And I'm gonna say I don't care. I'm gonna say it. I think they're basically all frauds, man. They're all race hustlers, bro. I told you why all these people are doing what they're doing here on YouTube, because it's putting money in their pocket, and they're going to continue to do it. They're all race hustlers, and I'm not afraid to say it. Not afraid to say it. If you guys are going to unsubscribe to me because I'm giving my opinion on what they're doing, that's fine. You don't like what I'm saying? You want to unsubscribe to me because of that? That's fine. I'll stay at 3,000 subscribers for the rest of my life. I'm not going to lie I'm not going to lie and perpetrate a fraud and be something I'm not. Like Fred lived in a predominantly white community, right? So that's the thing. Predominantly white community, and ran for councilman in a predominantly white community, right? So if he's so pro-black, why didn't he run for councilman in a black community where he could do some help? He can do some good for black people. Why is he trying to help the so-called white man who has the white privilege, who's in charge of who's the systematic racist, right? Why did he run for councilman in that region, right? Whittier, California. 89% white, right? 3% black. How is he going to be able to help the black community by running for councilman in Whittier, California? He's a fraud. He's a fraud. T Street controversy exposed this guy years ago. But yeah, he's pro-black. Okay. See, Beeb's a hater, right? You know what? Beeb's not a hater. Beeb pulls back the curtain, right? Beeb just pulls back the curtain. You pull back the curtain. All winter, the curtains are closed, right? It's cold out, we close the curtains, right? But then when springtime comes around, we open up the curtains, right? Because we got to do spring cleaning, right? That's what we got to do. Springtime comes around, we open up the curtains, we pull back the curtains, right? What do we see sometimes? We see the windowsills, got all the dust and crud on it, right? So then we got to clean that off, right? We don't like what we see sometimes, right? Sometimes we keep the curtain closed because we get lazy, right? We don't feel like cleaning, right? But then when we pull back the curtain, all the dirt and dust and all the things that we don't like looking at that don't belong there, right? They get exposed. The sun shines on it. You see everything, right? Wintertime, it's dark a lot. You don't, it gets dark early. You're not going to see these things, right? You're going to get lazy in the wintertime. You're not going to want to pull back to open those curtains up, right? Well, the Beeb is here to pull back and open those curtains for you. And unfortunately, if you don't like what you see, that's your problem, right? That's your problem. JC says Whittier is 60% white, 27% Hispanic, and about 2 or 3% black. All right. All right. I stand corrected. I take your word for it. I'm not from that area. But once again, 2 or 3% black. So if he's pro-black, how is he going to help? Why is he in a community that's only 2 or 3% black? Why would he not be in a predominantly black community where he can do some real good? He's a fraud. Guy's a fucking fraud, bro. He's a fraud. Fred is a fraud, bro. Is Hispanic a color? I don't believe it is. It's an ethnicity, right? But Hispanic people are called brown people in a lot of areas. So, but some Mexican people, or a lot of Mexican people, are light skinned, right? Some are dark. They're more tan, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm not friggin'. I'm not that website that determines ethnicity, man. I'm not educated in all that, man. But I'm just looking at the statistics, right? All I know is the community that Fred ran for and lived in, the community that Fred lived in, and he ran for council in. It's only 2 or 3% black. So if he's all about helping that black community, then why isn't he in the black community? Why wasn't he in the black community? But Fred with 24 and me or 23 and me, whatever it is, JC, thank you so much. Yeah. So that's the thing, man. That's the thing. So, all these guys who are all of a sudden pro-black, they're doing it for money, bro. They're doing it for money. They're doing it for money, bro. They're doing it for super chats. They're doing it because they know that they can stir up controversy. Controversy sells. Race is a hot button issue right now in America, and they know what they're doing, bro. They know what they're doing, and I'm not. And I'm going to be honest about it, whether it sounds uncomfortable or not. I know what they're doing. All right, Beeb is out. Talk to y'all soon, man. Make sure you check us out. 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Ringside Reporter Podcast. I will catch you all later. Have a great day. Stay safe as always. And thank you for joining me in the chat. And always thank you for your feedback, whether it's positive or negative. Peace out, everybody.